We're going to turn to the French newspapers now. Nicholas Rushworth is with me here on set. And Nicholas, an awful lot happening in the French press today, covering a lot of the Spanish elections as well, aren't they?
I'm going to turn straight away to Spain. And as we've been hearing in the news bulletin, a landslide victory there for Mariano Rajoy. The headline, España, ras de marée à droite. And that translates as a tidal wave of support towards the right. And the paper, unsurprisingly, is euphoric. It's saying that Rajoy will steer through austerity measures. Of course, the whole gambit is to make the markets feel that Madrid is credible. Now, the actual editorial on the front page is pretty incredible. It's got the headline there, Le Tournant Espagnol. And the editorial writers of Le Figaro are saying this indeed could be a huge turning point for the whole Eurozone crisis. It's saying that if Spain does manage to get its economy back on track, that could lead to a reverse domino effect, a reverse contagion effect, with actually southern Europe being saved. Well, I find that very hard to believe. I'm sure you do too as well.
We shall wait and see what happens. Yeah, exactly. What about Spain then? Are they dominating all the papers today?
It's grabbing a little bit in the front page of Le Parisien, which is the city paper here in Paris, and also has a national edition, Aujourd'hui en France, Today in France. And there you can see La crise chamboule tout, the headline there showing José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero waving goodbye, along with two other leaders, Silvio Berlusconi and George Papandreou, who, as we've seen over the last few days and weeks, are very much in the past tense. And what we've got inside in the front pages, in the inside pages of Le Parisien, it's pointing to a number of countries. Actually, in this paper, it's saying 7, but I've seen as many as 9. Now, countries that have been affected politically by the Eurozone crisis. Now, the 7 countries are the usual suspects that we know of. Greece, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Denmark. Denmark, is the odd one out because they're saying that's included as well, even though it's not part of the Eurozone crisis. Now, there's an interview with an analyst, a European affairs expert in that paper, who is called Jean-Dominique Giuliani. And he says, well, listen, the shift to the right already took place before the crisis. And what we've got now is on assiste une explosion des égoïsmes. We're seeing an explosion of egos. Now, he's saying that what's specific to what's going on at the moment is that, well, you've got in northern Italy, the Northern League, more than ever, saying they don't want to pay for the south. You've got Barcelona saying there are odds with the rest of Spain. You've got rich and poor. You've got Germany saying we're not going to pay for the Greeks. So this is kind of what he argues is egocentric behaviour.
And big defeat for the socialists. What about the left-wing press over here, Libération? I'm sure
well,
elections all over the front page, or
your historic socialist defeat does not make the front page of Libération. Instead, you've got enemy number 1 for Libération, and that's Mr. Sarkozy. Schizo-Sarkozy, it's leading this morning. Now, that's all to do with the fact that over the weekend, one poll said that he's actually gained 5 points in his popularity rating. François Hollande, his socialist rival, has lost 9 points. They're now neck and neck. And this the paper argues in its editorial, which is entitled Posture, leaves the president in a dilemma. What it says is a very personal dilemma. Should he, on the one hand, take a very presidential style, have his head above everything, not get involved with party politics, or should he stick to what he knows best, which is in the ring, campaigning the hard political fight? And of course, the paper says, well, actually, that's a very personal dilemma for him. His body may want to do the political campaigning, but his head is saying, no, I should be presidential about this.
And you can just mention really quickly this story about Marine Le Pen in Le Figaro.
Well, in Marine Le Pen, over the weekend, she is the bugbear, of course, of this whole presidential campaign and the whole political scene in France. Marine Le Pen, the far-right candidate there, we can see in Le Figaro saying, well, I am the candidate of reindustrialization. She had a speech 50 minutes into it. It was the first time she mentioned immigration, but she'll be hammering home on those hard far-right issues. Of course, you never know how that's going to affect the political landscape here.
Trying to mention different ones as well. All right, thank you very much, Nick. That's Nicholas Rushworth there with his look at the French newspapers today.